the teachings really are about happiness in daily living. That's what we're talking about. And happiness for the human being is not what we tend to think it is. Most people in life are moving towards pleasure. Moving towards pleasure because we believe that pleasure will deliver us happiness on a continuous basis. And we all know from our own experience that we feel when I achieve this, then everything's going to be okay. That's going to be the answer. If I meet my soulmate, then everything's going to be okay. When I get a new job promotion, everything will be okay. And inevitably, from time to time, we get that. And what happens? We suddenly say, well, when I get that, the next that, everything will be okay. So what it means is that in practice, what we think will deliver us happiness doesn't. And if we're lucky, we achieve these things, enough of these things, to realize for ourselves that maybe my formula for happiness is a little bit off. So this particular teaching is saying that happiness is not to be found in pleasure. So all of these are concepts that may resonate with you, may become part of your being, and when you're moving through life, may pop up and become part of an investigation that you can do for yourself. So the concept that says happiness is not to be found in the flow of life means happiness isn't to be found in outcomes. Happiness isn't to be found in pleasure or pain. So the flow of life, whatever it is moment to moment, is either pleasure or pain. For example, if you miss your plane, that would be considered pain in the moment. If you eat a nice meal, that's pleasure in the moment. If your partner doesn't fulfill a commitment that they said they would, that's pain in the moment. So to understand that the flow of life is only ever pleasure or pain is very significant. Because generally speaking, we don't relate to the flow of life as black and white as that, just pleasure or pain. Love is pleasure. Someone getting angry with us is pain. Now, what we tend to have inbuilt is an attitude to the flow of life. So the flow of life is always pleasure or pain, but where suffering comes in is based on our attitude to the pleasure or pain. The current attitude we have is the attitude that says my happiness is to be found in pleasure and pain, or in pleasure and my unhappiness in pain. So when the flow of life, being what it is and what it will always be, pleasure or pain, happens, if it's painful, another reaction happens, and that is suffering. The reaction says this shouldn't be like this because my happiness is dependent on it being different. Now, the nature of life is that it's always going to be an alternation between pleasure and pain. So if our happiness was dependent on life being pleasure, 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 then it simply means that happiness isn't available in this life. Happiness on a continuous, unbroken basis. However, for thousands of years, we've been told that happiness is our birthright. Happiness is our true nature. And it's available right here, right now, without us needing to change anything. So first we have to become very clear that that happiness that is being pointed at as our true nature is not to be found in outcomes. So 80% of the suffering that we experience in life is simply because we have the wrong idea of what our happiness is. So happiness is peace of mind in daily living. Continuous, unbroken peace of mind in daily living. And peace of mind is not something, but it's the absence of suffering. And suffering is the resistance to pain in the moment. So once we recognize that pain actually doesn't take away from who I am, pain is something that comes and goes, just like pleasure. Pleasure comes and goes. Once we really start to recognize that my peace of mind can remain unbroken, regardless of whether there's pleasure or pain, then the attachment to pleasure and pain starts to fall away. And as the attachment to pleasure and pain starts to fall away, suffering starts to dissipate also. Until such time as we become completely convinced that whether there is pleasure or pain in the moment is irrelevant to my happiness. And at that point, attachment to pleasure and pain has fallen away, and we'll find that our peace of mind remains continuous and unbroken regardless of circumstance.